Governor, after visiting this site, really one of the busiest in the country from what I understand, what are you happy with as far as the vaccine rollout, and what are you not happy with?
This site is incredibly inspiring. What's happening with thousands of Arizonans being able to come through every day in a 24/7 setting. Of course, it started out with some bumps. Probably the thing that we heard most is we've got to make it more user-friendly on the website, and I know we've made adjustments, but I am thrilled with the amount of volunteers and participation that we have. Our healthcare providers are off the charts, our doctors and nurses and vaccinators. And then we see the private sector and the public sector, from Blue Cross Blue Shield to Walgreens to the Arizona Department of Health Services. It's a unified effort. The Undersecretary of Defense was here just a few days ago taking a look at this because they see it as a national model that they want to roll out across the country. We want to roll it out across Arizona. You'll see that in Phoenix Municipal Stadium and a site in Pima County coming soon.
Now, one of the problems in Arizona, as it's been in other parts of the country, but let's just stay Arizona-centric. One of the problems here has been a supply and demand problem, and I know you've reached out to the Arizona congressional delegation. What are you hearing on that front?
We need more supply. We need more inventory. And we've been very vocal with both the Biden administration and our delegation. Everyone has signed on to help, but I think we know in Arizona that a certain welcome group of people migrate here every year when the weather's beautiful. They may not be Arizona residents, but they're in the category where they're vulnerable. If they were to get sick, it would be our healthcare system that would be taking care of them. So we're asking the delegation to help people understand in Washington that that amount of vaccine that may be sent to some cold weather climate should come here so we can vaccinate those folks.
And what are you hearing back?
Well, at first I think there's some misunderstanding in Washington, D.C. They didn't understand the idea of a snowbird. The delegation, from Republican to Democrat, have all been supportive. It's one of the bipartisan things we can all agree on in this new year. So now it's about making sure that the federal administration gets it. We had a great discussion yesterday with the CEO of Pfizer and the president of their vaccine division, helped them to understand the situation. They're really ramping up production, and with Moderna and AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson soon coming online, we're going to have a lot more inventory that we can get into a lot more arms and protect a lot more people.
The Biden administration has said that we could see the Johnson & Johnson rolling out before the end of the month. How much, and I don't know whether you want to take this or Dr. Chris, but how much will that lift off of your shoulders as far as the supply problem?
So this is a question I want to ask Dr. Chris to talk about, because she knows about the different vaccines and the creation of them. So Doctor?
We don't have the numbers right now on how much Johnson & Johnson, but it would be a third type of vaccine. The promising thing is it's only one dose. So that would take the whole second dose issue out of the equation. And so that's really going to be a game changer.
And Governor and Dr. Chris, you guys just hit a great milestone. Over 750,000 doses have been distributed here.
I think we're going to hit over 800,000 doses by the close of business today, and that's actually more doses distributed than cases that we have in the state of Arizona. So it's kind of hard to get your head around that, and we certainly have many more to do when you have 7.2 million people in the state, and for the majority of them we'll have to do this twice. But it shows that this site is working, the people here are committed, and now with more inventory, we can get more vaccinations.
What do you say to the folks who are watching this that have had trouble navigating the website? I know it's better than it was, but there are still hiccups. What's going on from where you stand to streamline that process so people aren't kicked off or have to log in 100 times?
So I want to say we're listening to the people, and we hear them. We want that website to be user-friendly. We want it streamlined. That's been a persistent challenge, is the amount of servers that we need to back up the amount of traffic that we've been faced with on these websites. I think you saw that we had something like 36,000 appointments available, and they were gone in a matter of minutes. So we need that backup. we're investing in that, and it's going to become better and easier and more customer friendly as we take that input and make the adjustments.
Quick question on immigration.
Yes.
What are your initial impressions of working with the Biden administration when it comes to immigration and Arizona's issues with it?
Well, the devil is going to be in the details, and Mark, I think you know, and we in Arizona know, that we separate out border security from immigration. They are two separate issues. So I have a concern that we're going to let our guard down from the federal government's perspective on what we've been fighting in terms of drug cartels, human trafficking, and child sex trafficking. Now, we've all been a fan of figuring out an immigration system that actually works and that people understand. That's Congress's job. But we look at border security as a law enforcement issue. We have the Border Strike Force in Arizona. We've worked with ICE and CBP. We want to continue to work with them to stop the activity that shouldn't be happening at the border. And then we're all open-minded on immigration, but this is where Congress needs to do its job.
Any initial impressions on the Biden administration?
I would say they are listening to us. I have some concerns on the talk around immigration and confusion with border security. I certainly was opposed to what happened on the Keystone Pipeline. I don't think we should do things symbolically that sacrifice Americans and American jobs. But I know also around infrastructure, public safety, national security, we're going to find issues in which we can work in a bipartisan way. And there's no better example of that than this. We wouldn't be able to do what we're doing right now without a partnership in the Biden administration. And we're grateful to the Trump and Pence administration that predated it, because we have a modern medical miracle here in this vaccine. So this isn't about partisan politics. This isn't about who's in Washington, D.C. This is about serving our citizens and our people.
Two final questions. I was very surprised to see you censured by the Arizona GOP. You were a good foot soldier for the Trump administration. You're a two-term Republican governor. Is the Arizona GOP fractured, and what will it take to heal it?
That was an action of no consequence at all. And there has been discontent at the state party level for some time in the state of Arizona. And you see this in other states across the country as well. This is just the latest example. What I'd say to the state party chairman is, why don't you focus on winning some races? That's really what your job is. I'm going to focus on my job as being governor of all the people of Arizona.
Do you think that Kelli Ward speaks for the majority of Republicans in this state?
Oh, absolutely not, and all the metrics would reflect that. I mean, we're going to be a big party, a big tent. The hope is always to be a majority party where people are welcomed. The way you get that is by having good ideas and good policies that you move forward. It's not by having some purity test where you terminate people.
And finally, when you look at the situation with the Republican Party on a national basis, can a Republican be successful and not believe in QAnon and other conspiracies? Can you have success as a moderate Republican in today's new world?
Well, Mark, I want to say, of course you can have success as a Republican. And I'm talking party politics because you're asking about party politics. I've said the election's over. I want politics to stand down. But as a Republican leader, we have a lot of points of optimism out there. If you think about it, 74+ million votes in the presidential election. We had a gain in the House of Representatives of +10 seats and the ability to take over the majority in 2022. We've got pickup opportunities in the U.S. Senate, and it's still a 50-50 Senate with Georgia and New Hampshire coming our way in 2022. So I think there's going to continue to be the discussion, debate. There is some division, but we should let whatever we can stand down right now, because it's about 2021 and the policy agenda that we've put forward. But I think it's going to be competitive, ongoing, and I want to see the best ideas and the best people win.
You saw Arizona through the worst of times. Now we seem to be trending again in the right direction. That must be gratifying that these efforts, as painful as they must be for a lot of people, are working.
By any measure, our numbers are headed in the right direction here. We're seeing fewer cases. We're seeing hospital capacity increase, ICU capacity increase. We're getting more vaccine into the state. This is all stuff to be happy and optimistic about. My concern is this is also where people sometimes start to feel comfortable. So let's not let our guard down, continue to wear our mask, stay physically distanced, and wash our hands. We're going to work 24/7 to get this vaccine out, and then we can get back to normal. We're through our second wave. That's behind us. Is there a third wave? No one knows. This is a vicious virus, and it's unpredictable. If we get the vaccines out, we can avoid that. And I want to thank all Arizonans for their cooperation and participation. They've been wonderful.